The Kevlar craze makes its way to the SLK lineup. The SLK Halo Pro paddles feature a unique Kevlar and carbon fiber weave on the paddle face, aiming to capture responsive power from the Kevlar and adaptable control from the carbon fiber. With a thermoformed unibody design and foam injected into the perimeter, the Halo Pro seeks to offer an all-court paddle to the player who wants it all. It's Brittany and I on the play test. Brittany, how are you?
Great, how are you, William?
I'm fantastic, thank you. I wanted to start really quick to compare this with the previous model. So the previous SLK Halo featured a 13mm and 16mm offering. This one's got a 14mm thickness for both the Max and XL. The paddle face has now got this Kevlar addition with the carbon fiber, so you're supposed to be getting some extra power on the ball. It's got an updated grip and injected foam around the perimeter, so you're gonna see a bigger sweet spot with the increased forgiveness. I found this super easy to play with, pretty much no adaptation period. Why don't you start us off with your thoughts?
Sure, when I was looking at all the new SLK paddles, I was actually really drawn to just the overall look of these. I don't know, the Kevlar surface really kind of caught my eye. And so I was really excited to go out and play. And I'm gonna first start with the shapes of these two paddles. And for me, I picked up the squattier Max version first. Typically, it's my least favorite of the two, so I went out and hit with it. Wasn't in love with it. Switched to the XL, the little bit more elongated, more my style shape, and really connected with it instantly.
Yeah, the Max is that standard shape, the XL, that elongated shape. I typically prefer an elongated shape, so I had no adaptation period for the XL. The Max took a little bit longer to really get in the groove with. Now when it comes to power and control, I felt that they both offered kind of an all-court playability to them, maybe edging a little bit on the power side, but I just found easy access to both. The maneuverability on the XL was better in my opinion. I felt like if I needed to get the paddle around quickly, no problem with the XL. With the Max, it was nice with touch shots at the non-volley zone, but anything where I was having to do quick movements, I struggled a little bit there.
Similar story. I thought with that 14mm thickness, typically they're 13 or 16 like the previous versions, I thought you kind of got the best of both worlds. You got that power when you needed, but there was also control there. So I didn't really have to choose between the two thicknesses. So I kind of liked that aspect of it. It gave me less options and I don't know, made it simple, I guess, for me. Maneuverability was interesting to me. I felt that the Max, I actually liked it better at net. I thought I was a little bit quicker. I don't know, maybe because it's a little bit more condensed, that the ball was landing closer to my hand and I could kind of maneuver and really get some good reflex volleys and some good touch out of it. However, from the baseline, hitting serves, hitting returns, preferred that XL. I felt like I could really whip the paddle around and get some good head speed to it and get some good spin potential as well.
Yeah, I think for me, the balance of the Max was probably something I was dealing with a little bit just because of the shape of the grip. When it comes to the stability and forgiveness story, it's very interesting because when you hit the ball with these paddles, you get this loud crack sound, almost like something's breaking. And the event is really localized on the surface where I felt almost no vibration through the handle. So very muted paddles. The foam injection around the walls of the paddle were noticeable when I was doing touch shots, shots where there wasn't a lot of pace behind the ball. Anything where I was defending harder shots, where the ball was coming at me quick, I had a little bit of issue with the stability, especially on the Max. It was a little bit more exaggerated. I just felt like I was getting a lot of twist out of the paddle.
Agree again. You brought up a really interesting thing regarding the sound. For me, it did take a little bit, actually probably more used to me getting used to that sound and feel combined because it is almost like a higher kind of pitch sound when you hit the ball, but you don't feel that. It feels definitely more comfortable and more muted feeling. So kind of getting used to the sound and then how the ball feels coming off the paddle just took a little bit of time for me to get used to. Another thing I wanted to point out was I am a two-handed backhand player, so grip and grip length is very important to me. And I think to start, the grip itself feels nice and premium to me. I had no issues. I liked how it felt in hand. The palette felt good. The Max is a little bit shorter of a grip length, and for me, that's a big issue. That was probably one of the biggest issues. I couldn't even get a second hand slightly on it. A lot of times when they're a little bit shorter, I can kind of, cheat my way and get a second hand kind of choking up a little bit. This one was pretty much almost impossible for me. So I was almost hitting a one-handed backhand at times, which is not what I normally do, but that extra long had plenty of length in the handle and I was able to nicely get two hands and hit my two-handed backhand.
You need to come to the dark side on the one-handed
I can't.
backhand. I don't have a two-handed backhand. However, the grip length on the Max is very short. Even for me, I didn't know where my hand was gonna go. I felt stifled, and I feel like that also contributed to the balance issue that I was experiencing. The grip at 4 1/4 circumference, loved it. Maybe just slightly a little too small. Over grip, no problem. Length was great. It does feel like a premium grip. At 150 bucks, you can't beat that.
I think overall the playability for me is really solid for its price point. I think this is a really great paddle suited for maybe a beginner or an intermediate player that's either looking to get into the game or just getting into the game and really excited and kind of wanting to take that next step to get a little bit better.
I agree. I would also recommend this to an intermediate player or somebody who's a beginner trying to upgrade from those Walmart style paddles. I think these are amazing all-court paddles, $150 price point. I love to see that. Add on top of that 1-year warranty. I think the paddles are going in a great direction there. If I were to compare this to anything else, that 6.0 Ruby that's got that full Kevlar face, you're getting that same crack sound. You're getting a little less power than you would see from the Ruby. The Ruby's kind of a little bit more controlling oriented. Feel-wise, it's pretty similar, so I would say that's a pretty good comparison there.
I think one last thing I just remembered, so I can't forget it, is I didn't talk about spin, and I actually thought there was pretty decent spin potential on both of these paddles. I thought that I could get great touch and kind of underspin it, and I can get some nice arc and kind of really dip a top spin ball at my opponent's feet. So overall, I think we really enjoyed this play test. I am definitely leaning towards the XL version, just better suits my game and how I like my paddle to play.
I agree. I connected much better with the XL, the power, the maneuverability. I'm used to an elongated paddle, so that was just more suited to my game.
I think that wraps up this playtest of the SLK Halo Pro. For more information on these paddles or anything else pickleball related, head to pickleballwarehouse.com or totalpickleball.com.au.